Good morning, everyone. Guys, the game has changed. I was sent yesterday a list of all the planned protests for today. And guys, the structure, what's the word I'm looking for? The structure, the capacity, and the undertaking of these protests has totally changed, and it's in a new dimension now. I'm not going to share I won't share the list, but it's out there in social media. There's lots of people sharing it. I don't think it'd be responsible for me to share it. But what I will say is that game, I call it a game. The rules of the game, I guess, have really changed, because now, rather than protests being planned outside prominent places, now these protests are starting to target those companies, organisations, legal entities that are facilitating, supporting the influx of people and the influx of people from other countries via the boats. Guys, this is more of a military strategy than whoever's planning these protests. They are certainly well educated, they're well funded, and they know exactly what they're doing. Guys, I've said this before and I keep saying it. There is no going back now if you live in the United Kingdom. There's no going back after this. Absolutely none. This is going to force change. And from Keir Starmer's speech yesterday, I honestly think the best thing he can do is just stop talking. Just say, somebody just needs to say to him, right, Keir, I know you want to make things better or whatever you want to do. Just stop talking, mate. Because every time he gets in front of a camera, he enrages 90% of the public. Let me just read you quickly what's been reported today. UK riot, police officers injured in Belfast and Plymouth as disorder continues. Nearly 400 arrests have been made across the country, with more expected in the coming days. Now, he's expediting this legal system, and he's saying, he came out yesterday and he said, if you protest, I think if you riot or whatever he said, you'll be met with the full force of the law. He's not saying any of this to the gentleman who attacked the police officer. He's not saying any of this to, the people who are committing these crimes, that the people are protesting against. It's absolute insanity. And, what I'd really like to know is, I'd like to say to him, if I could say to Keir, I'd like to say, Keir, do you read the comments when you post on X, for example? Because I've not found a positive comment underneath Keir. All I've seen underneath him are people saying, I don't care, it's gone too far, what about X, Y and Z? And the reality is, I think he's so out. We knew this before when we elected him, but all those people who said, I remember my friend, he said, I'm voting Labour, how much worse than the Conservatives can they be? Well, I guess we found out. Where am I? Several officers have been injured. No, that's not what I want. Right, here we are, guys. Social media companies have nowhere to hide. Well, I'll continue. The technology secretary met with TikTok, Meta, Google and X yesterday to urge them to stop the spread of hateful misinformation and insight. Now, again, I'm just going to give you a rather benign example of how people get so angry. I'm sure you've all seen the incident on Sky News when there's a lady presenter and she gets approached by several gentlemen and they're shouting slurs, and then they have to cut the feed. Later on, we find out, I think that one of their tyres got they punctured the tyres with a knife or something. Anyway, so we're seeing all this. People are seeing all this in real time, because it's getting live streamed, or other people are filming it from another angle, and then it's coming out, and the mainstream media are deleting the posts, and the government are just pretending that this is not happening. And this is what's aggravating right now. This is what's aggravating people more and more. Like I said yesterday, I was at my friend's house. He's got a 9 till 5 job. you know, he comes home after work. He just wants to be left alone with his kids. You know, he wants to go to the park at the weekend, wants to go on holiday once a year, and that's it. He just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to be involved in any of this. Last night I was speaking to him, and he is so angry of how the media are portraying a certain demographic of people. He's so angry that now he's been labelled as a far, you know, as far right. So whenever Keir Starmer gets in front of a camera, he just makes things worse. Sorry guys, I'll continue. Peter Kyle, who's the social media representative from the government, I think, the technology secretary. Peter Kyle in a statement said, "It is unacceptable that people are using social media to cause damage, distress and destruction in our communities." Okay, what I think he's meaning there is it's unacceptable that people are using social media to organise. Now, if the government wanted to deal with this, they'd deal with the root cause, which is why people are going out to protest. But they're not. What they're doing is they're segregating those people who are protesting and saying, "I'm not bothered what you say, I don't care about what you say, you'll shut up, you'll do as you're told and you'll pay your taxes." But people have had enough. Over the last 20 years in this country, we really have had enough. Guys, listen, in fact, let me just read this last bit. I'll read his actual statement. Today, the technology secretary, Peter Kyle, met with, wasn't he one of this? I think that was Chris Kyle, sorry guys. Today, the technology secretary, Peter Kyle, met with TikTok, Meta and Google to make clear their responsibility to continue work with us to stop the spread of hateful misinformation and incitement. Now, what do we class as misinformation? What do they class as misinformation? Because if you're live streaming, if somebody's live streaming an incident, how can representing something with no context or representing something as it's happening in real time, how can that be misinformation? I just don't understand how this is misinformation. You know, if somebody's watching something unfold in real time, that they, you know, anybody has the right to go anywhere in the United Kingdom, as I'm led to believe at the moment. So you, me, anyone could go and watch these protests anywhere in the country. Now, the reality is, social media has just made it a lot easier now. We can watch it on our phones. So there's nothing there that's, if you're live streaming one of these events, I don't think that, well, again, guys, I'm not a legal expert, but I don't think there's anything illegal about live streaming these events because it's happening in real time. And you could get in your car if you wanted and you could go drive there and see that for yourself. So I think what they're really saying is they don't want people to know what's actually happening and they don't want people to, you know, think about things that are not in their narrative. Anyway, guys, that's just what's happening today. The news, my main, and guys, you know, when I started this channel, I wanted to do things like, you know, aliens and science and, you know, maybe a little bit of the supernatural, but it's just gone really, really dark, you know, absolutely insane. That's, but yeah, sorry, the main news about these protests today, guys, they've changed. The game's changed, the goalposts have changed, and they have become a lot more targeted. Now, the next phase after that, I should have probably said this at the beginning, the next phase after this, so first of all, you know, these protests are targeting large areas, large concentrations of migrants, and you know, you've seen this all over the country. The next phase, which you're seeing is going to happen today, you're seeing the targeting of, well, is targeting the word? Yeah, of course it is. The targeting of legal entities, of private companies, NGOs, any structure that is facilitating the influx of people via the boat. So whether that's visa, like I said, visa legal, NGOs and all that sort of stuff. The next one after that, guys, I think they're going to start to target people. So people's houses, maybe, guys, and I'm just speculating now. So obviously I've got no control over, I don't know who's planning these, identifying these locations. I've no idea. What I will say though is from my time in doing my time working in Northern Ireland in the military, this is kind of an escalation that would be used. So first you target X, then you target Y, and then you target the people if nothing else is done. So can you imagine now targeting the, I don't know, the legal partners of a legal firm in a certain county that are facilitating this? Can you imagine, you know, targeting members of parliament at their homes? Guys, it's going to be absolutely terrifying. Like I said at the beginning, guys, okay, the game's changed. This is not going away, and we're not going back to the way we were. Guys, buckle up. Honestly, I still stand by what I say about this Friday for a major escalation. And that's it, guys. I'm going to max a grid, and I'll see you guys later.